Testing, testing, one, two, three. This is Johnathan Barber, Senior Mortgage Specialist of Equity Resources. Thank you for joining us in our second online home buyer seminar. As our commitment to the public, we are doing these free educational seminars to let our community know about credit repair, homeownership strategies, real estate tips and techniques. We're doing this for you. It is free. It is our way of thanking you for your continued business and support. You've been the backbone, the pulse, the most important part of my business. So I wanted to, before we get started today, I wanted to thank you personally and professionally for being an important part of what we're doing here. So anyway, we're going to talk about home ownership. We're going to talk about strategies that will help you purchase a home. Take good notes. Feel free to interact. Ask as many questions as you would like. You can send text messages. You can send Facebook messages. Please do not call me right now because I am trained like a robot to answer my phone, and that would be very distracting. But we want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered as much as possible during this session. We might not get to all of your questions. So if there's something that we did not touch on that you want more information about, feel free to email me or text me or call me a little bit later after the session. So where do we begin? In order to purchase a home, you have to understand that underwriters are people who look at the file and say yes or no to your home ownership dream. Underwriters have a very, very difficult job of evaluating your file. And I wanted to show you the trick to this. And so please take very good notes. Underwriters are looking for the 3 C's: credit, capacity, and collateral. We're going to spend the majority of our time today talking about credit, but I wanted to touch on the other 2 to help you understand what the underwriters are really looking for. I mean, it's a really tough job. In my career, I've had some really great underwriters who are great people, and they pull me to the side and they say, JB, you know, this is wrong with the file, or this is wrong with the file, and this is what you need to do to improve it. So over 15 years, I've become a little bit of an expert after talking with great underwriters like Sherry Polka Dot. I'm not going to say her last name because I'll get in trouble because she's not my underwriter anymore. She was the underwriter at Union National. Great underwriter. I have the JB team here at Equity Resources, and I have a few other really strong underwriters, all of whom help me help my clients purchase homes. And this is what the summary of all of their advice is, and I wanted to share it with you. So 3 C's: credit, capacity, and collateral. What is capacity? Capacity is your ability to withstand financial strain. And by that, I mean your employment history. Do you have a billion different employment gaps and part-time jobs throughout the majority of the last 3 years? That's not good. Now, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be at Procter & Gamble for 15 years straight. That's very rare. Underwriters aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for a presentable collection of data, especially in terms of employment. So try to keep steady employment. If you have part-time employment, you're not getting a house unless your part-time employment has been coming through for a period of 2 years. Underwriters have to determine if the income is going to continue. That's the whole key. So it has to be something that they can sink their teeth into. So if you're asking, some of you are already texting me about non-traditional employment, get with me after the show today and we'll talk about your particular scenario, and we'll help design a way where it could fit the loan parameters. But capacity is very important. And a lot of my clients have come straight out of college, and they're able to purchase homes through the Grant for Grad program that we'll talk about a little bit later. Obviously, they don't have 15 years of employment history, but we're able to design the loan in a way where they do not present a loan risk. It's a tough job being an underwriter. I mean, they look at a file that has 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper and a credit report, and they have to make a determination on your financial mental state if you will foreclose down the road during that 30-year mortgage. And it's not like they get to meet you or they get to talk with you. 9 times out of 10, they spend very little time with those papers, with that file. And with just that little bit of information, they have to make a very tough decision on what you will do in the future. So believe me when I say you have to build a really strong file with the 3 C's, credit, capacity, and collateral, because the underwriter has a very difficult job of predicting the future based on what you are giving her. And I don't know about you, but I know people sometimes for 3, 10, 15 years, and I can't predict what they're going to do with their paychecks tomorrow. But the underwriter has to look at your paperwork, your credit, and everything that's put into that folder. So we have to make it strong. Anyway, capacity, that's number 1. Number 2 is collateral. Did you know, actually, I wonder if there's a way we can get the audience to interact with this question. Maybe not. My coach is over here telling me no. Did you know that you can actually purchase a home with very little money down? There are grants available that will help you pay very little money out of pocket. In fact, I'd like to talk about a grant that I lovingly call the Super Grant. Now, this grant gives you a 5% down payment gift, 5% down payment gift, and it will also give you a first-time buyer tax credit every year that you're in the house. So if you do the math of this, an FHA loan requires 3.5%, but you're getting 5%. So as you can see, oftentimes we're able to use the leftover money to help buyers pay for closing costs. So this is a powerful grant. It is not one of those political grants like the Welcome Home or the LIFT grant. This grant is available all year round, and it's not limited to certain areas of Ohio. Any Ohio community is available for this program as long as buyers have a 660 credit score. For the first-time buyers, a 640 credit score. For the second-time buyers, and yes, I said your second-time buyers get this grant as well. So it's an awesome device. It's a wonderful way to purchase a home without having the traditional collateral. Whenever I do the classes in person at the office, we kind of go through the audience, and the majority of the people believe you need 10% or 15% or 20% before you can purchase a home, and that's sadly not true. Now, granted, you do want to have money in your bank account before you purchase a home, because that's the wise thing to do. In case there's an emergency, you have money to fall back on. But don't put homeownership off thinking I need to save billions and billions of dollars to show an underwriter. Underwriters are looking for the 3 C's, but they do count this grant as collateral. And that's just one of the many grants that we have at Tri-County Equity Resources. So for more information about all the different grants that we offer, hit us up later after the show today, and we'll give you all the information that you need. I'm going to take a quick break and see if we have any questions that we need to hit. All right, so it looks like we're doing well on time. Now, I need a little drink of my coffee because we're getting ready to get into the credit repair piece. Credit repair. How are we doing, Coach? All right. Let's get back in the middle. Okay. Anyone want some coffee at 8 o'clock at night? Okay. Credit. Before we start talking about credit, I know that this video is going to be bounced around at least 1,000 times. So it's going to hit many different people who have many different situations, many different circumstances. So let me say this first and foremost. No one is perfect. Bad things happen to good people. I'm a living witness. I had a great, super duper great credit score. Fell on hard times, got a divorce, and my credit score shot down at least 120 points. And I employed the strategies that I'm going to teach you. I use those tips and those strategies to get my score to where it is now. So we have to first and foremost realize that just because you might have a 400 credit score, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you fell on hard times. But use this information to get yourself back on track and to get back on the journey toward home ownership. You can do it. It's just going to take a little bit of information and a little bit of time. All right. Looks like my hat is slipping off. I do have a very big forehead and the coffee makes it sweat. So let me readjust. Okay. There we Sorry, it's Empire Night and I'm really excited. So sorry about the occasional Santa hat joke. Anyway, we need to understand that your credit is a snapshot. Once you understand that philosophy, everything else will sink in a little easier. Your credit score is not, it's not growth. It is a short snapshot of what you are doing with your credit life at the particular time the credit is pulled. Now, let's look at the different pieces of your credit score. The very first part of your credit that accounts for 35% is payment history. Oops, I'm on the wrong leg. There we are. Can everyone see that? Payment history. That accounts for 35% of your credit score. So obviously that's the biggest part of your credit score. Actually, I guess I should have drawn that a little bit better. 35% is more than a third. I apologize. I am a Cincinnati public graduate, so let's make sure we have those fractions right. Pay your bills on time. 35% is the biggest factor in building your credit score. So adjust your budget accordingly. If you miss a payment on a credit card because you forgot to put it into the mail, your score could drop significantly. Heaven forbid, it's a car payment or a mortgage payment, you're looking at easily a 50 to 75 point drop in your credit score. So you have to pay your bills on time. I know it sounds simple and hopefully not insulting, but bad things happen. We all totally get that, but you have to prioritize your payment history as the number one thing, okay? Number two, the second largest is credit utilization. Credit utilization. How much do you owe on your bill? Now this, people, is the biggest thing, and technically it's 30%, but really it's the most important thing you can do to get your credit together. Now, when we're learning about credit scores and social security numbers and whatnot, there's the myth, keep your credit under 20% utilization. And it's true. That's great. But if you really want to see a tremendous credit increase, pay your credit balance down to $1. Pay your bill down to $1 and keep it there for a couple days. Go buy groceries, pay it down to $1. Keep it there for a couple days. Go buy gas, pay it down to $1. Why pay it down to $1? Why not just keep it under 20%? When the credit snapshot is taken, for whatever reason, it's going to produce a higher, a more rapid increase. And yes, I stole this idea from Continental Credit, and it works. It's great. But keep your balance as low as possible, but ideally $1. there's a glitch in the credit reporting system where some credit card companies feel obligated to report very quickly when they see 1.00. So pay the bill down to $1. Now, the opposite of this is, if you had a 700, in my case, 750 credit score and you have to rely on credit cards for a while, then you're maxing out your cards. You're going over that 20% utilization and close to 70% or 80%. You're going to see a tremendous credit score drop. So keep your utilization down as low as humanly possible. And we know, sometimes things happen. It's the holiday season, and sometimes we need to go get Christmas gifts or whatever. But keep your balance down as low as possible. And for great results, keep it at $1. I'm going to slow down here for a second and see if we have any questions that we need to hit.
What's the difference between $1 and 0?
Great question. Someone asked the difference between $1 and 0. Both have great results because you're keeping your credit utilization down. And credit utilization accounts for 30%. So you're going to see great results either way. But I'm telling you, I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients build their credit by telling them to get their score down to 1.00. And usually they'll see a very, very quick increase in the credit score by doing that. But yeah, 0 is great, but try and get it down to $1 to take advantage of that glitch in the system. Great questions. All right. Length of credit history accounts for 15%. Length of credit history. So, true story. I'm a big fan of Credit Karma. I don't know if you're on Credit Karma, but if you want me to help you get your credit together, download the Credit Karma app. The Credit Karma app is going to give you regular, weekly updates, and it's going to tell you what your score is doing on a constant basis. And we can use that as a target to help you get your credit together, to help you get a house. So download the Credit Karma app. So true story, because I watch Credit Karma regularly to get my credit to its peak. There was one particular point in time, maybe 2 years ago, I was watching my Credit Karma after it fell, my credit score fell, and Credit Karma suggested, hey, there's an account that's been open for a long time. It now has a balance. So I was an authorized user on that account. I never touched the card. I didn't even know I had a card, but Credit Karma told me I had an account that had been open for a long period of time that was just used recently. So obviously I freaked out. I'm a loan officer, so credit is my life. I panicked and I called Macy's and I said, hey, what's going on with this? I didn't use this credit card. And they explained that I was an authorized user on a card with someone else whose name we won't mention. So I closed that account so fast. I got my name off of that account so fast. I was just full of rage and I was so anxious to get it closed because my name is on debt and I didn't get any benefit from that. So I closed it out and my credit score fell. Why did my credit score fall? My credit score fell because I destroyed that life of a credit card that had been open for 5 years. So I cut off the credit history. Does that make sense? Credit history accounts for 15% of the credit score. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go open some credit cards, pay them off and keep them in your desk drawer. That wouldn't be good security, okay? You need to know what you're doing. You need to have good measures of all of your credit. But what I am saying is you have to be careful. If you have a credit card that has a good shelf life, a good history, keep it open. That's going to help you build your credit score. 10%, my marker is trying to let me know I'm talking too much. It's dry. So 10% of your credit score is because of new credit. New credit. So when you're going out and you're opening up another credit card, that could affect your credit. It's a 10%, the importance of it is 10%. So you want to have a blend of credit, but you want to be careful not to overextend yourself. You don't want to have 15 different credit cards because that actually does pull your score down. Along with that, new credit being 10% of the credit score, you don't want to have excessive credit inquiries. I had a gentleman who was referred to me by one of the counseling agencies, and the gentleman was calling me to get a grant. He had 35 credit inquiries within 3 months. 35 credit inquiries. In fact, the inquiry sheet was longer than his credit report. He's not getting a house. He's not going to get a house for quite a while because his score took such a beating that it'll take a long time to recover. So yes, get a second opinion about home ownership. Get a, maybe even a third opinion. Go to 3 banks or whatever, let them pull your credit, 2 or 3. But understand that every time someone pulls your credit, your score can drop. So you want to be very careful with new credit.
Especially when you're close to 640.
Especially when you're right on the edge, because these grants are very credit score sensitive. The super grant needs a 660. So if you know you have a 660, call me. Don't don't let anybody else pull your credit because that can hurt your score. If you're at 659, Columbus is not going to give you a break. And 640 for the second time buyers, if you know that's your score, let's get moving right away because your score can drop whenever you go open up a Best Buy account. So be very, very careful with the new credit.
So, a question.
Question.
Student loans are deferment. How do I get my score up with these loans?
Oh, great question. I don't know if you guys heard Vanna, but student loans. Student loans, well, we could talk about an hour, and I would definitely drink something other than coffee when we're talking about student loans, but student loans are good and bad. Student loans are great as Joe consumer because sometimes you can get them deferred. So that's wonderful. But remember what I said at the beginning of the session. I said your credit score is a snapshot. So look at it this way. And this is the example I always use when I do the classes. If you walk into my office today, you'll see a weight bench in one of the office rooms. No exaggeration, well, not a weight bench, but an ab lounger bench. And when you look at that weight bench, when you walk into my office at 9 o'clock, you'll say, wow, JB has a great snapshot. I'm getting the picture that JB is really worried about his health and he's always working out. Because if he's got a doggone ab lounger workout machine in his office, a professional office, then he must work out a lot. So I have mad respect for JB. That's the snapshot that I just gave you because of the image that I'm putting out. Now, I didn't do it on purpose. I just didn't have the time to move it out of there, boss. And I will get it out of there, but it's in there right now. Another example, I have Planet Fitness membership. So sometimes I leave my keys out and people say, hey, you're a member of Planet Fitness. You must work out a lot. You must care about your health. None of the above are correct. I don't get to work out because I'm very busy. Haven't used Planet Fitness. I use Planet Fitness for the massage chairs. But that's the snapshot that I gave you when you looked at my keys, when you looked at my office. That's the image that was portrayed. So what does this have to do with the student loan question? It has everything to do with the student loan question. You're not paying on the bill. So how are you showing credit accountability if your loans are deferred? You paying $0 per month is showing that you are credit savvy. No, not at all. It's showing that you are a good Joe consumer who doesn't have to pay that $200 per month. And now your monthly budget is better. But as far as your credit score, it is not helping your credit score grow because your credit is a snapshot. Your credit is the depiction of your ability to pay your bills on time. So I'm not saying get your bills out of deferment, but try to give a better image. Maybe call them up and see if you can get a payment plan going. If that's the only thing on your credit is student loans, you're not ever getting a credit score.
She said that was a good answer.
Okay, great. So I think I hit the point. And one more thing about the student loans, because I hate student loans and the new rules that they're putting out. If you have student loans, there is an underwriting rule that says if you have the student loans, and let's say you owe $100,000, underwriters have to count $1,000 per month towards your debt ratio. We have to count 1% times your balance. So as you can imagine, it's going to be kind of hard purchasing a home. Not impossible though, because the way to work around that rule is to simply get a set fixed payment for your student loans.
So if she pays on them, the score will go up, correct?
That is accurate. Yes, your score, you will actually show that you're working out. It's kind of like you going to Planet Fitness once a month. If we catch you at Planet Fitness and you're whatever, we're gonna say, hey, you're more concerned about your snapshot, your health. And in this case, paying bills on time, it'll be your credit health that is improved. All right, so great questions. The last part of the circle, and I'm going to quit showing you the circle because I'm actually kind of embarrassed at my drawings. And yes, I did graduate from the School for the Creative and Performing Arts. I know we have some SEPA alums out there. Please don't laugh at my artwork. I was an art major too, of all things. But types of credit. You want to have a blend of credit. Installment loans, small credit cards, mortgage payment. So you want to have a blend of credit. Now there's one other thing that we should have talked about in terms of new credit. And this is going to blow your mind. And I'm so glad I remembered to put this out there instead of waiting for next month to talk about it. A lot of times we assume we know information. When I first got into the mortgage business, there was a certain office, Coldwell Banker office, that they couldn't get certain deals done, and they sent the deals to me because I was the genius, the mortgage specialist guy who could do the hard loans. Yuck. But anyway, I would counsel clients based on what I thought, based on what I read. And now that I know the truth, I feel morally obligated to tell everybody the facts. And these are the facts. On your credit report, there are 3 columns. You need to pay attention to the column that says most recently reported date. Most recently reported date. So if you have a collection from, let's say, Golden Corral because you just loved their fish and never paid your bill, so you have a collection from Golden Corral from the year 2010. That's in the first column. No one mentions it until you're curious and you call them up and you say, hey, what's this collection? So because you actually called, it's going to get re-reported in 2016. Yeah? Now, let's say you want to be a Boy Scout because you're dealing with the wrong mortgage company, and the mortgage company says, hey, all of your collections need to be paid off for your score to go up, which is similar to the advice that I gave when I first got into the business. I know, I'm sorry. But let's say you have that type of representative who tells you, pay off all your collections, man, clean that stuff up and get your score up. Here's what's going to happen. Your score is going to drop, and here is why. There's the birth date column of the particular issue, then there's the most recently reported date column. If no one has mentioned the stupid collection for years, you just did. When you call to make a payment arrangement, when you call to pay it off, you have now awakened that debt. You have poked that sleeping bear. You woke that dog up. And now guess what's going to happen to your credit? It's going to get reported 2016 December in that column, which is going to cause your score to drop. Real stuff. And this, of course, I was taught this by an Equifax representative who came and shattered all of our minds with this information, and it's true. For the last 6 or 7 years, I've been helping many clients improve their credit by 80 points, 100 points, 200 points, just with that little bit of information about letting sleeping dogs lie. And of course, paying down balances to $1. So be very careful with how you try to fix your credit. Please replay this video because I know we covered at least 1 billion different things on the credit repair, on the collateral, and on the capacity. But most importantly, remember, bad things happen to good people. You're going to get your house. Play back this information and apply these strategies, apply these techniques. I'm in a house right now, a new house, 3rd house, as a result of everything that I teach, as a result of disciplining myself and just realizing that I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to work hard to achieve my goal. And I know that some of you who are listening to this video right now, you're already pre-approved with me to get the super grant. And I take my hat off to those of my clients who are watching right now and who are following this game plan and who are going to close. But anyway, we could talk for hours and hours and hours about all the different success stories. But instead, we're going to end it now.
I would say next time that you have a home buyer seminar, that you talk about what to expect out of your agents, what to look for when you're buying a house, home inspections, things like that.
Excellent questions. For those of you who didn't hear the question/statement, it's been recommended that we hit on some of the other topics, including how to pick a realtor, home inspections, and things of that nature, because home ownership is more than just the 3 C's. I mean, you can have all of the 3 C's, and if you have a really bad real estate agent, you're not getting a house just because you picked the wrong real estate agent. Sometimes you can have all the 3 C's, you can close on a house, and I'm certainly saying this with deep sympathy because it has happened to some of my clients recently. Because you had a bad home inspection, your house is now flooded, or there's mold growing out of your bedroom wall to the point where you have to sleep at a Motel 6. So yeah, we'll add more topics as we do these seminars, and it's our goal in the year 2017 to do Financial Fitness Fridays, where it'll be more entertaining, more fast-paced, and we'll really focus in on a unique topic every Friday. So thanks again for all of your continued business and support. Like I said before, you guys have been the heart and soul of our business. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here today. So I take my hat off to you, my shiny bald head. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to share this video. We're going to have another video in January 2017. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and thanks again for your continued business and support.